What's up, guys? Today I want to talk about variations for pressing and ways to shift from horizontal pressing to overhead pressing. And so today I wanted to utilize the landmine press, and specifically in kneeling. It's something that I use a lot with overhead athletes as a way to kind of build tolerance to getting into that overhead position and also allowing for a little bit more motion of the shoulder blade. And so it can be a really good, clean way to get good motion of the shoulder blade while also preventing potentially some of that pinching or irritation if that's been present. And so it's something that you can cue in a lot of different positions. If you want to decrease the vertical piece of it, then you could have them in standing. You can always decrease the load as needed. And keep in mind here, if they're using a 45-pound barbell on these, it's not really going to present as that much weight because one side of it's on the ground. And so if you don't have an actual landmine attachment in the gym that you're at, you can also just put the barbell in the corner. But some places will actually have a landmine extension from some of the rigs that they have in the gym as well. So this is one of my favorites for just building capacity, getting into overhead. Obviously with baseball athletes, I'm not having them doing a ton of pressing, not overhead at least. And so I like the freedom of this, and I like the ability to kind of scale into whichever positions are more tolerable. So this is gonna be the landmine press. One thing that I used to cue with this is kind of setting the scapula early on. And I think with some of the stuff that's come out now and some of the people that I follow, Eric Cressy being a big one, he talks a lot about freedom of the shoulder blade to kind of move through a full range of motion. And I've been cueing that a lot more lately because it makes sense, right? As a baseball player, if you're throwing overhead, you don't want to glue your shoulder blade down. It's just gonna cause problems. We need freedom of motion there. And so whenever I go into the landmine press variations, I like to cue pressing almost out and around slightly, and really getting that head through at the top to get that last little bit of upper trap activation and serratus to kind of finish the job of upwardly rotating the shoulder blade. So theoretically, that would decrease pinching in the shoulder. And so we know that there's pressure in the shoulder no matter what we do getting overhead. But if we can alleviate some of that, if there's irritated tissue, then this may be a good way to bridge the gap. So I will do some overhead carries and things like that with baseball players. I think it's important to be stable overhead. And so this is a really good option to kind of get there without just, putting somebody into a strict military press with a barbell, because a lot less freedom there, a lot more opportunity to pinch and irritate the shoulder. So here's the landmine press. I'll just go ahead and do it kneeling. So I like to go into a nice split stance. One good thing to cue here is to brace the torso. I don't like to see a whole bunch of upper back and low back extension. Obviously we're gonna get some upper back extension with throwers, but I don't necessarily wanna see a big arch. I would rather them kind of control that and keep their ribs down. So I'll have them go ahead and start in a comfortable position. I will limit how low they come initially just to keep from getting any pinching here. But in terms of the movement itself, I like to see a nice drive out and around and a good push through at the top. And you can kind of see that the shoulder blade is kind of running up the side of the rib cage a little bit. I'm getting a little upward rotation. So that's really what you want to see. And I'll really regulate tempo on the way back down. So again, regulate tempo on the way down, feel good tension in the torso, a nice out and around drive with a push through at the top, and that'll really open up motion. And this is something that you can just kind of follow on a linear trend as far as loading. And as it gets better and better, you might move into something like a neutral grip, slow tempo dumbbell press, or an overhead carry or something like that. So this is one that I really like in the clinic. I use this myself in training just to mix things up. It's a good way to go from horizontal pressing like a dumbbell bench press to overhead work as well. So you also get a nice little core activation side of it with this. So something to try out. Hope you guys enjoy it. All right, thanks.